Well, once again, three great gentlemen having a competition for the worst load time. Looks like it may be me this time. Yeah, I saw the blip of a white screen. But okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Go for StarCraft Monday Premium Cup. This is, of course, the map Whirlwind. And spawning here in the lower left corner of the map. He's purple, he's Protoss. And I know at least two of those letters stand for Western Wolves. It is StarNaN. And it's one of the lower right. Of course, playing for Quantic Gaming. It is the blue Zerg player, Hyun. And you know, I look at I look at this, and I can't help but be like, Western Wolves Mothership Cores, y'all. Or something really dumb like that. Not to actually make fun of the clan tag. I just don't know what the additional three letters stand for. But yeah, so PvZ. It's kind of interesting we hit this matchup this early. It's still a best of one, sadly, not a best of three. This is definitely a set of players I would have loved to have seen go at it in a best of three series, but because it's a best of one, they do have to play a little bit more intelligently. And now in game one, we saw Hyun, or sorry, not game one, not to reference the series, but the previous game that we just cast. Hyun did go for a 10 pull with Banes just to clear out his opponent real quick, but sadly, you're not really afforded the opportunity, I guess, to do something quite so crazy on not only a map like Whirlwind, but also against an opponent like StarNaN. Now, StarNan's actually going to build his gateway here at the top of the ramp. I really like this. You know, so many people, they make their gateway openings. You know, you can go with gateway expand, double gas, you know, 2 and 2, all that good stuff that Protoss players love to do. But they'll typically build it close to the Nexus, and that's to save time, you know, the resources lost between walking to build the pylon and coming back home. But realistically, I feel this is a lot stronger. He'll have, ideally, the Cyber Core underneath this too, allowing for that one square of gap, which he can then hold position with a probe or zealot or whatever he fancies. And it will actually serve as a second wall off, because so many times, how many times have you guys watched pro players play StarCraft 2, have a pretty good wall up, SimCity at the front, and then like have a zealot slightly out of position and lings covered in butter flood on through? Well, the upside is when you've got this second sort of, I guess, barricade created, you can hold position and make up for any small mistakes like that. Now, it's not going to save your natural, but hey, it's better than losing everything in your main at the same time. And Hyun, actually, is going for a fairly early speed. Not taking that quick expand. This is kind of nice. So because almost nobody goes Forge Expand anymore, a lot of people, they go with gateway openings. And this is actually completely buying into the fact that Hyun expects StarNaN, I think, to have the no SimCity here at the top of his ramp. You'll go for early speedlings if your opponent goes for gateway, and Zealots can't catch you. If the Stalkers come out, well, guess what? 6 Lings are going to surround it and kill it. And yeah, 3 will probably die, but you'll still have 3 left afterwards to kite the Zealot around and go for the probes. So by having this barricade alone, he has shut down the sort of early game potential harass that Hyun has on the field. Now, Hyun's running north? What? He scouted that there's nothing up here, though. I don't know what he's thinking with that, but okay, there we go. He will find his opponent here on the left side of the map. Now, while he can't get to the main and end the game, he can put a lot of pressure here in the natural. Mothership Core will come out, and it will eventually clean up the Lings, but they have the very large potential to pick off the pylon. Definitely not kill the Nexus, and probably no cancels, but with speed completing soon and 4 more Lings on the way, Hyun's going to play a lot off of one base. Oh, sorry, never mind. He's taking his natural. My mistake. Didn't look at the mini-map. Come on, Rifkin, get your head in the game. But this is a lot of Lings, and it's kind of... Quite frankly, it's kind of all-in-y this early, but the upside is, because his opponent doesn't really have the potential to counterattack, Hyun can just run up after this. Yes, he will certainly be behind ever so slightly, but he won't be out of the game. Now, he's not microing here on the front lines, and a pylon's going to come down to completely wall this off, and it's just... This is going to be the end of the push here initially, but of course the natural is up for grabs. That's about, what, 14 more Lings on the way, 18 more Lings on the way. The Mothership Core will eventually clean them up, but not too quickly. I mean, it shoots fast, but it only shoots for like 8, I believe. Yeah, 8. So they take down the pylon. They could probably surround the Nexus if necessary. Will catch a Stalker on the wrong side of the wall. Ooh, StarNaN making quite an error there. Could have been rallied on the other side and been A-okay, but meanwhile, Nexus gonna get focused down. A probe is sitting there with almost no health. Photon Overcharge does go off. These Lings will not kill the Nexus. And Hyun, as I stated, is joining up behind this. StarNan's reaction, though, throw down a Dark Shrine. This is kind of cool. I like this a lot, actually. Lings are actually going to get this considerably low. Again, they won't kill it, but wow, that was a lot of damage done. Anyways, StarNaN can know, hey, my opponent just sent somewhere between 12 and 20 Lings at me. I mean, he might not have counted exactly that many, but it's enough to know that Hyun probably doesn't have the economy to go for a lair. There's not going to be Overseers on the map, and a Dark Shrine is going to be, quite frankly, really, really good. Now, if Hyun catches wind of this somehow, some way, sends an Overlord in like right now and scouts that, he may throw down a Spore Crawler and be a-okay. But if he gets caught completely off guard by Dark Templar, it could be game ending. He's not set up to recover from it, and he's certainly not set up to defend against it. Now, he's got enough gas for a lair, make no mistake, but he's not going to be looking to go for one anytime soon. I don't think he's expecting the early Dark Shrine coming out of his opponent. Pylon is torn down by the Valiant Emperor of Mothership Core and some probes. Transferring here to the natural. Zealot on hold position along with the Sentry. There's no way for him to really run into the base. Not that he's looking to, mind you. Again, he's droning up like crazy, trying to catch up that gap he had made for himself in the early game. Now, he has taken the lead in workers, but of course you got to keep in mind he was on 14 workers while his opponent was on almost 30, so not exactly ahead. We got a Spore Crawler coming down, but oh me oh my. Dark Templar are already coming across the map. And Hyun, oh, actually, this is kind of cool. I like this. Taking a ninja base in the top left corner of Whirlwind. There's no way for StarNaN to really know about this, but the sad thing is Hyun, okay, a Spore Crawler is coming down. I don't know if this is in anticipation or just in case. I don't think he scouted the Dark Shrine. No, he certainly did not, but maybe he saw the Shimmer coming underneath an Overlord. I don't know, but this is the only form of detection he has of the field. Queen's currently on hold position. Gonna try and keep the Dark Templar out of the main is the priority. Drone's kind of awkwardly pulled. And the Dark Templar sadly busts on through, but a Spore Crawler is coming down in the main. So this will only be a temporary problem. Has to move the Spore Crawler. He cannot see the Dark Templar. Oh, this is so irritating. He's going to lose so many drones to this. A lot more than he should. Already on 9 kills. And the Dark Templar just moves out of range ever so slightly of that Spore Crawler. Meanwhile, the main has been evacuated while he waits for the Spore Crawler to finish. Now, of course, you can surround a Dark Templar with drones. Never a preferable thing to do, but hey, when you're in a rough spot like this, you gotta do what you gotta do. Double Evolution Chamber coming up, or already on the way rather. He's got 2 upgrades going at once, +1 and +1 for melee specifically, so his eyes are on the late game. I'll go into more about that in a second. I'm just watching the Dark Templar, see how many kills it can get. It's on 15, guys. It's a master. Finally gets taken out, but we've got double Stargates coming behind this. And this is, I don't think it's going to work so well for StarNaN. If he goes for some Phoenix play, it could be really irritating for Hyun for sure. But if his goal is to flood Lings, Phoenixes can't possibly pick up enough Lings really in the game, and you can't make it a Void Race to really effectively deal with the Lings on the ground if your opponent's just flooding them at you. And yeah, unfortunately can't do anything up here, but the top left part of the map, still gone unscouted. We'll see how long Hyun can get away with this, because right now StarNaN, it's really important that he scouted there's no third base right now. He might think my opponent's stuck on 2 bases, a Zerg player on 2 bases, has terrible economy, I will just skyrocket ahead in this game. But little does he know about the third base in the upper left corner of the map. And it's kind of cool, there's not enough players to feel that utilize the ninja bases. I think the only person who really often does is, if you ever watch Whiterun stream, he actually does something really cool where he doesn't just... Whoa, did he catch wind of those Phoenixes? Okay, he actually went in for a scout and saw everything. Yeah, so double Stargates is why he's immediately got the Spore Crawlers come down. 2 in each mineral line, because of course 1 is not enough to stop Phoenixes. Did he not remake the Queen in the main? I guess not. That's going to need to be rectified. Oh, there we go. It's already coming out. Sorry, I assumed that was one coming in the top left. There is one in the top left, so whatever. Queen's all over the place. But what I was going to say, Whiterun does this really cool thing on big maps where he'll make the ninja expansion just like Hyun did, but rather than probe transfer, he'll actually mothership recall probes across the field. So there are certainly some people who do take advantage of the ninja base concept. But I'm really excited Hyun did. Now, he's got a lot of Spine Crawlers coming down. I think this is in anticipation of Stalkers being on the ground, which there's not. There's a lot of Zealots. Now, a big reason he's investing in Spine Crawlers, regardless of what his opponent is coming his way, is because Phoenixes cannot lift them up. If he makes a ton of Lings, if he decides to blitz out some Roaches, the sad reality is they'll be useless because the Phoenixes will shut them down rather quickly. A double Spore Crawler gonna, yeah, prevent the Phoenixes from doing too much damage for free. Ling's still just being active on the map, trying to keep an eye on where his opponent is. Wants to make sure StarNaN does not go to the top left location of the map. Meanwhile, still no third base as far as StarNaN is concerned, and this misinformation, I don't know, I don't think he's getting cocky off this. I mean, he's still playing very standard, he's taking his own third, he's not trying to do a 2 base to end the game. Phoenix is still roaming around the map. Hyun just going with some Infestation Pit for now. Queen unfortunately chases a little too far away, so he's going to have to remake that Queen once again. Big scary thing for Hyun though is Overlords are going to get picked off by these Phoenixes if not careful. So unfortunately his supply cap right now is not very high, and there we go. Overlords getting poked on at. This is a mighty spine wall. But meanwhile, we're moving on to Hive Tag. So with the melee upgrades in suit, I guess the one thing that the Phoenixes do not fare too well against are Ultralisks. And if Hyun goes fast to Hive, he's already got the melee upgrades going so well for him, he can quickly pump out some Ultras. But of course, again, the scary thing is he's not going to be able to do that if he can't get the supply. And if he's got to waste all his larvae and overlords, he's not going to have anything he wants on the field. Now, we do have some infestors coming out. Pathogen glands first, of course. It'd be great for fungling the Phoenixes if he can manage to catch them. But of course, just like Mutalisks, they're very fast units and hard to lock down. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an awkward game for Hyun right now. I think he's making some really cool moves, but the question is whether they'll pay off or not. Because again, StarNaN is a Protoss player now on 3 bases with a very comfortably large army. And Hyun, most of his supply right now is workers. He doesn't have a lot of actual army supply on the field. Now there's still... Actually, is there no Dark Templar here anymore? I guess not. Oh, there it is. Sorry, just hidden within the build structure, I guess, of the thing. Actually, that's a really cool move. Picks up his own Dark Templar to keep it alive. Not a lot of players will put that dedication into the micro, so a cute move there by StarNaN. Dark Templar on hold position, wasn't moving to kill the rest of them, I guess. I don't know. But there's the Ultra Cavern. Is it coming in the upper left corner of the map? I think it is. Where? Why can't I click on it? Okay, never mind. It's right here. Maybe that's why I couldn't click on it. At any rate, the upgrades are definitely in, like right now, the Ultras they'll crush the Zealots. The Fungals will crush the Zealots. But the answer and the question, the question is, what is the answer to the air army of StarNaN? He's got a hell of a lot of Void Rays, and Hyun is not massed Queens. He's not massed Hydralisks. He's going to be relying on a combination of fungal growths and infested Terrans to shut those Void Rays down, and man, the last thing you want to do is send some Ultras running into Void Rays that are prismatically aligned. Now, was the top left corner of the map scouted? Oh, not yet, but it will be. This Phoenix is going to find this sneaky base, and Hyun, he's gotten away with it for so long at this point. He's making a lot of static defense to try and defend it. Meanwhile, +3/+3 on the way, along with chitinous plating. But oh my god, is this... He's going to evacuate the upper left corner of the map with a Nidus Worm, I think. Oh, and what's really cool about this, of course, is you can use the Nidus Worm to get around the map with the Ultras if necessary. But of course, with the Phoenixes coming up here, the Phoenixes aren't the initial threat. The Nidus Worm is probably going to go down in his main, I'd imagine. Waiting for him to actually build it. But yeah, to evacuate drones would be my guess. Queen going to get picked out here too. Sadly, he actually kind of really needs that Queen. Not having this Queen is going to be a big problem. For now, he hasn't built a Nidus. I think this is precautionary. Oh, wait, there we go, yeah. So he's definitely not going to evacuate preemptively, but he's got the ability to now, which is really great, because if we look here, that's 18 workers. That's a lot of drones you don't want to have to remake later on, larvae you don't want to have to spend. Finally, he clears out the third base, so we will be able to place down a hatchery. But StarNaN also, for certain, heard that Nidus Worm cry, and he might be looking around like, wait, is it near my base? Do I have to worry about this? And yeah, we got the Warp Prism just kind of hovering around. Again, this army of Zealots, it's 3 upgrades, no armor. They're going to do some damage for sure, because I believe they have charge as well. They do have charge as well. So they're going to certainly do some damage as they connect to these Ultras. But Ultras, man, they are made. They are designed to counter ground units. I don't care. Like, the only thing, like, even Immortals don't really stand up too well against them. Now this is kind of cool. I was going to say the Ultras, or the Nidus Worm would use primarily to evacuate the base, but in fact he's using it to reinforce it. The Dark Templar do make mincemeat out of that Ultralisk, though. But of course, Dark Templar, while doing a lot of damage, are not too strong themselves, so Spine Crawlers take care of them pretty readily. No transfuse available on the Queen, a little sad to see. But the Zealots, of course, they've got no armor. They're doing a ton of damage, but as we see, they're just getting taken apart. And this is kind of interesting. StarNaN is going to be forced to invest a lot into trying to take out this upper left corner of the map with just a Warp Prism. Meanwhile, we got Queens, we got Zerglings, we got the army of Hyun coming out to defend his hidden base in the upper left corner. Still trying to deal with the Zealots. Here come the Ultras to chop them down. Yeah, they can go down so quickly with that splash damage. Another Warp Prism will most likely be taken out next. In the meantime, we got the Void Ray army, and looks like the Zealots going to try and make the focal point of the map, the top left. He is sending a good chunk of them up there to try and deal with the army, but Hyun, of course, with his third base at home now, technically his actual fourth base. Again, I need to just point out that if he needs to, he can retreat. But of course, let's hope he doesn't retreat too soon, because here come the Zealots, and he should see this on the creep. Oh, he is going to retreat too soon. He's going to leave an Ultralisk here, that'll be fine. With all these spines, it should be able to deal with the Zealots. They'll soak a lot of the damage, allowing the spines to survive and keep attacking. But yeah, this is really annoying for StarNaN. Having skipped those armor upgrades, as we can see here, these are very fragile units with 3 Immortals at a time. Now, this is where things get a bit sticky, guys. As stated, Ultras are meant to destroy everything on the ground, and there's this kind of critical mass where even the Immortal Hardened Shield is irrelevant because the splash damage from 5 Ultralisks hitting all 5... Oh, I was Pearled Ling, I didn't even notice that, denying that base for so long. Anyways, the 5 Ultralisks, you know, with 5 splash damage just going off at once, they do kind of negate the effect of the Hardened Shield. However, they do still tear through Ultralisks, even with their beefy armor and 500 health. You gotta remember, Immortals hit for like, what, 60, I think, versus Armored? 65 versus Armored. So the Lings flooding in behind this will take care of the Immortals quite nicely. He's just got to bust through the Zealots so he can make Lings afterwards. Meanwhile, feedbacks go off on the Infestors. 3 of those Infestors pop right away. The High Templar doing a great job there. Are Storms available? Storms are available, so even flooding Lings is not the most viable thing to do right now. Has to be so very careful because, of course, even these Spine Crawlers will not hold up to the might of the Immortals as well as the Void Rays. Hyun has now got all of his queens forward. They are getting feedback, so no transfuses will be available. Transfuses are going off where available. We got storms coming down to most of the army. The Void Rays getting taken out by the queens. Huge warp in right on top of the queens, actually Zealots as well. But the Ultras have taken out most of the army. This is what I'm talking about. The Hardened Shield of the Immortals, a little irrelevant when you got 5 Ultralisks on you. Lings flooding in all over the place, and Hyun is going to crush the push of StarNaN. But of course the Void Ray is still a problem. Only a couple left, but not a lot of anti-air. Most of the queens were taken out, making 4 queens at a time. But Hyun is going for the counterattack. He's on the move. He's going to do some damage across the field. 3 Immortals and 3 Archons coming in. Hyun wants none of that, so he's going to go for the northern base. There's no mining going on, but he will tear this down. Meanwhile, Adrenal Glands coming out to make those Lings even better. But of course, most of the Spine Crawlers at home have been taken out at this point, and there's no defense left to stop StarNaN's couple of Dark Templar. Meanwhile, this one Dark Templar actually doing a ton of damage, chunking away with 60 damage a hit. It's almost like having an Immortal. The Ultras will just retreat for now, though, taking out that base. StarNaN going to find himself with little opposition here. A Fungal goes off. The Queen not choosing to outrange. If you guys don't know, the Queen actually outranges the Void Rays by 1. And looks like Hyun now going to take advantage of that fact. Sadly, no Burrow means no life for this Infestor. So it will probably go down afterwards. Another fungal growth goes off, but reality is what he needs is some infested Terrans under this. Fungals, they don't have as much damage as they used to. This is no longer Wings of Liberty. Queen is going to still pick away at this. Another Queen coming here from the south should be able to clean up these Void Rays. And those Void Rays, man, I want to point out resources lost. We're going to look at it. It's going to be big for both players, but I think it'll be a little bit bigger for StarNaN. Yeah, those Void Rays, those Immortals, man, they cost a lot of gas. And yeah, I want to point out, while this is going on, not only has he still maintained the upper left corner of the map, he's actually expanded off of that. So now on 5 bases completely split across the map, but of course the use of the Nidus Worm kind of connects all of his bases. So it's a weird concept, but he's actually not really that too split off, I guess. The Ultras being the massive units they are, the Phoenixes cannot lift them up. It's a little bit annoying. Predators, Slayers in the army. And these poor Infestors are here for support, but that's all they really can do. Now, of course, from Hyun's perspective at this point, one thing he really needs, I feel, is some more Lings in his army. Not a lot, because of course, let's not forget the Archon with the splash damage will take them out very quickly. But if he can just chew through those Archons and flood with Lings as the reinforcements, he will destroy StarNaN. Because Ultralisks and Queens are a very tough combination to beat, especially when they're spamming Transfuse. Meanwhile, Phoenix is still being active on the map. I like this out of StarNaN, not choosing to ignore them. Gonna keep using them to their fullest potential. Spine Crawler, Spore Crawler. I mean, the Hyun's just full of static defense. Another base coming down. So 6 bases on the field at this point, scattered between the top. This is almost like a Risk board when you consider it. You know, when you play Risk and like the board ends on the right side but really connects to America on the left. Well, it's kind of what's happening here with the Nidus Worm. But this is so many queens out of Hyun, and this is great. 14 queens. Forget for a second that the transfuses are going to be very difficult to deal with. As for right now, there's no High Templar. It's primarily all Archons. You got to remember, if there were Void Rays, which there are not, these queens would take care of them really quickly. And the Overlords start the creep spread. The highway begins, and the 3rd base is going to be sieged for certain. Now, we do have the Phoenix who's going to start cleaning up the Overlords. A little bit of an annoyance for Hyun, but he's already moved his queens across the map, and that's what matters. Ooh, can he get a fungal off? Nice! Man, Hyun, have you been playing some League of Legends, practicing those skill shots, my friend? Actually, fun fact, Hyun was playing Brood War the other day. For those of you who didn't catch him streaming it, it was a bit of a surreal experience. Because I only really got to StarCraft 2 competitively at StarCraft 2. I never really saw anyone play Brood War, other than, like, you know, Sunken Defense on, like, Saturdays, because that's what I would do. I was the cool kid. But meanwhile, getting into this, there's a lot, you know, while there's a lot of, there's so much big units on the field on both sides of this army. 9 Immortals, 7 Archons, 14 Ultralisks, only 9 Lings, but let's not forget 14 Queens will extend the life of these Ultralisks. And just side note, if you guys ever play 2v2, well, hold on, we'll put that thought on hold for now. Ultra's going to charge on in here. Bundles go off, going to chip away some of the shields as quickly as they can. But of course, as we see here, despite the transfuses, the Ultras are going down very quickly. There's just so many Immortals here. In fact, I think there's enough Immortals to start one-shotting the Ultras. The army of Hyun evaporates in an instant, and he managed to take out most of the Archons, which is going to allow him to reinforce on Lings if he needs to. He's been going for the ranged upgrade, so Ling Hydra might be his late game composition, but nay! Hold that thought, Rifkin. He's actually going to go with 24 Mutalisks. And this is actually kind of cool. There are Archons on the field. He's got to dance around them. But of course, what can Archons or Immortals not do? And the answer to that is shoot up. In fact, Dark Templar, Zealot, and Immortals have been the focus of StarNaN's army, and none of those units can contend with air whatsoever. 35 Mutalisks will be on the field, even if he clumps. It's going to be very difficult for StarNaN to kill these Mutalisks. But here they come. The army of StarNaN is going to be like, it's forced to either retreat or fight. And quite frankly, it's still going to get him killed, so he's going to have to just go in and fight. Going to go, not even Magic Box, just brute force right on top of the Archons. Takes all that splash damage, and Hyun is going to clear up what little anti-air there is. However, can he do enough damage to these Immortals? There's so many of them. Oh man, the Mules are going to do a ton of damage, that's for certain. But coming up to the main, StarNaN should and could go for the main tech buildings here. Yeah, the Infestation Pit falls like it's nothing. The Hive just getting chunked away. This is ridiculous. If you lose that Hive, it's going to be really rough to rebuild anything big. But of course, he's got the Ultra Cavern already down. He's not going to lose it, so that's not going to be a problem. He loses his main, he loses his natural, but there's almost no mining going on whatsoever, so not the biggest loss in the world. But the Dark Templar will come and finish the job. Meanwhile, we got StarNaN epically creating a ton of Archons, as well as Stalkers, going to try and stay in this game versus the Mutalisks, but perhaps a little bit too late. He has those 2 Stargates, but no economy to pump out Phoenixes. Good game is called. What do you say, too nervous? Too nervous. GG. Well, you know what, StarNaN? Nervous or not, that was an entertaining game for sure. Well played by both players. No questioning that.